Hey guys, what's going on? The MC Rad here. Uh, got a quick little deck profile for you guys with a list that I was playing on Thursday at my locals, which happened to get me my first ever win and actually come first. Pretty standard Dragon Link, trying to end on VFD with Apollosa. Just trying to really shut our opponent down for playing. I was originally playing the FTK build with Blackguard and the Earthbound, but those games were really boring and mind-numb. And it was actually fun when I was interrupted in my plan, not when I just got to free do whatever I wanted. So yeah, I moved to standard Dragon Link, and this is what I ended up with after looking at quite a few lists. So first things first, looking at one of the best starters in the game now. Black Metal Dragon with the Red MD errata. It is entirely optional to use it now. This is not the LP target we want to be going for all the time. Just because of it being a hard once per turn. And Black Metal being one of our best starters, linking it into Striker Dragon, we get to chain block either one that we want to choose. So if we think we need Bootsex more, have this as chain link 1. If we think we need Red Eyes more, this is chain link 2. It's really nice. And being level 1 is very important in this deck. Our next starter, so glad this was reprinted in Megatons. Seafoot, just one of the best normal summons in this deck without playing the Dragon Maid engine, which I will be picking up due to a banlist hit. Called by the Grave going to 1 and reboot at 1. Do you think Konami wants this to be a control format? But yeah, so triple Seafoot, send itself, avoids Impam, avoids Velar, unless they do it on the summon. A lot of people tend to let this go through because they want to hit the Romulus more. Next, we're looking at our rocket engine. Triple Tracer. Why it's a tuner, I don't know, but it's the best property about this card, as well as being 1600 attack. It becomes very relevant with that fact with Black Garden in play, because we actually use the second effect of Black Garden to destroy all the tokens and special something from our grave with something equal to the attack of all the destroyed tokens. We only ever give our opponent 2, which is 1600. This helps make our Crocker Dragon that you'll see later. After that, our other level 4. I've actually been really liking Recharger over things like Silver Rocket, because if we extend enough and end up with a Recharger on field, it's actually a relevant effect. Being able to basically tag out in our graveyard if a Dark Dragon gets destroyed. So if they end up outing our Savage that we use, we can end up bringing back something like a Phantasme, or even like a Red Eyes Darkness Metal, which just helps rebuild for the next turn and just carry on playing. And then Absoralta. Absoralta is typically our Dragon Ravine target, but opening this plus Chaos Space, this plus Dragon Ravine, if we actually open both of them, is fine, because we will end up adding a Tracer for our Bootsex launch anyway. And it's just really nice seeing Absoralta. A package I see a lot of people playing, and I very much agree with it, is the Rose Dragons. Though the typical ratio I've been seeing is 1 of each. However, I've been really liking 2 White Rose. Because if we open one, the other one isn't a brick. And if we open Quick Launch plus Rose Dragon, it's full combo. Due to the fact that if we control a Dragon Tuner, we just get to special it from our hand. Red Rose is our Needle Fiber target, realistically. We want to use the Link Cross tokens plus this to make our Garden Rose. And that just helps extend even further. to hopefully our own board. Next on Chaos Dragons, white, black, levy. Obviously we can only play one, but we're only playing one levy, unlike some of the other lists I've been seeing, which play 2 or 3. This is typically what we're using Brotar for, near the end of our combo, just because we want to be able to shuffle a card back out of our opponent's hand. But also, if we open levy in here, it's not that big of a deal, because instead we use our LP for black metal if we haven't used it already. That gets us both our level 1, which is relevant, and we just get to keep carrying on. The best generic extender in this deck, which I've been falling in love with at the moment, is an Octavian Dragon. This card is absolutely insane, being able to chain block Romulus. If you open this plus any level 4 or lower dragon access, it's full combo. You don't have to extend that much into your hand because of it, because it's going to replace itself eventually. And it's just really good. Its actual effect never comes up. We're never setting anything face down. The only time I can imagine that coming up is, for some reason, if we want to reborn this and our opponent book a moon something, but that's never going to happen. I say that, fingers crossed it'll never happen, but you'll find it probably will now. But yeah, typically we're just using it for the fact that if a dark dragon is summoned to our field, we just get to special this from our hand. And then if it's used as link material, we just draw one. So it helps chain block our striker dragon, because we do this on summon, and it helps chain block our Romulus, just to, in case people are still playing Ash, though a lot of people are moving over to Imperm and Velar, which has tempted me to drop this to 2. But I really liked rounding this up to 3 for the event. Then we move on to our one-off dragons. So Brotar, this is typically what we're using as our LP target. It's level 1, it's able to search our levy in here, it's able to search any of the dark dragons we want to use. Like if we suspect our opponent's first player is going to be Lynx, we can just literally search Fantasia if we already open something. And because the fact that we are playing Fusion Trish, I'm playing Tempest and Crusadia Draco. It's one of those that we end up turning the Trish Banish into a plus for us, and just really helping extend. If we open Tempest, the line I've been playing around with it at the moment is, if we haven't used black metal, instead of using LP to summon Brotar, we use LP to bring out black metal, link it into Pisty, and then that gets us our red MD. We Pisty back the black metal, red MD banishing the Pisty to summon, and then we use red MD to summon the Tempest from our hand, which we then use to banish as the fusion material for the Fusion Trish alongside red MD and LP. I did that line a few times, as you'll see when my locals go up. But yeah, it was quite nice seeing Tempest. It wasn't that much of a brick, it's just a slightly different line that we have to take. But it ends in the same result at the end of the day. Hand traps. Despite the fact we're not only a realistically combo list, but it is very much a going first format. So if we are going second, we still want to be able to play the game. So pretty standard, 3 Fantasia. Everyone's playing Lynx at the moment, although with the ban list, I don't know how good the Synchron line is going to be anymore. Although I suspect people are going to move over to Plague Spreader, which means if we open Fantasia, we can tend to help dig us into more hand traps. And relevantly, it's a dragon. There's been a few times where I've put this into field with red MD if I've discarded it off of things like Dragon Ravine or Chaos Space. Yeah, it's just really nice. Our next hand trap, triple Velar. Ash, I don't think is this good, this format. With cards like Anaconda, sending his cost, it just doesn't help. If we run into Numeron, the field spell sends us cost, so it doesn't help. The only thing that we do really get to Ash in this format right now, other than generic searches, is if our opponent hard activates Red Ice Fusion. But that's pretty much it at the moment. It's just a level 1 tuner, it's relevant, but the most important part is it gets around annoying chain blocks and it's a light for Chaos Space. It's the reason why we're playing the hand traps I am. The next hand trap I'm playing, Triple Ghost Ogre. This is alongside our Red Rose, our level 3 target for Needle Fiber. While typically I have used it in some games, I don't necessarily like using it all the time, but it's there more for the Needle Fiber target than anything else, as a backup plan in case Red Rose gets banished through whatever means, or we're just not able to summon Red Rose instead for whatever reason happens. But that's all the monster hand traps. And then we are actually playing 2 normal dragons, Flamvell Guard and Galaxy Serpent, and this of course is because we are playing Truffle Unexpected Die as another starter card. Opening Unexpected Die plus any tuner is full combo, though we have to take a different route to what I really want to take. It just ends on slightly worse boards, but I have been really liking these because the only normals we are playing are tuners, so it just helps extend into Needle Fiber. Galaxy Serpent being possibly the best one out of the 2 that I tend to go for, because if we open Die plus Black Dragon Collapse Serpent, we Unexpected Die, summon, link this into Striker Dragon, banish that to summon Black Dragon. It's just really nice. The levels aren't entirely irrelevant either, because if we open Unexpected Die, an Extender and a Reborn, if for whatever reason we can't get to Brotar or Black Metal, Reborn back Flamvell Guard, that's our level 1 for Crocker Dragon. So yeah, now we move on to the spells. As I said, 3 Unexpected Die, one of the best starter cards in this deck. Again, it just helps start the combo off, which is very relevant now, especially now with 3 Call By. This list will be adjusted to support the 1 Call By. I feel like I want to be sacky and still play it in main deck, but I'm also going to be putting in a Dragon Maid engine just to help with more starters. So we're on Rocket Engine, so we have to play Quick Launch. Again, it's emergency teleport for rockets at 3. I don't really need to say a lot about that. The fact it can get any of the rockets from our deck means that if I really wanted to, I could play around with some of the rocket ratios, with things like Rocket Synchron and Explode Rocket, which was one of the things I did quite regularly in the FTK build. But again, we've got our best ones being 3 Tracer, so we just want to maximise our chance of seeing Tracer because it's our most important rocket. After that, we are on... I did borrow these, so these are proxies, but it's triple Chaos Space. Best card in Toon Chaos, in my opinion. It is insane how much we can get away with if we have Chaos Space in our hand. In my last locals, you'll see one of my games against Sky Striker, where I opened Chaos Space and Absorata Dragon, and it was disgusting what I could do with it. Although our opponent had interruptions, it was very much one of those that opening certain cards with Chaos Space, if you open the dragons, they don't break, because of its second effect, being able to banish itself, put one on the bottom that cannot be normal summoned or set, and draw one. that really helps just carry on. So if we open both dragons, we go Chaos Space, sending the white dragon to search Levianir, which then we then just get to banish it with black, banish Chaos Space, put it on the bottom, draw one, link into Striker, we chain block. Yeah, it's just, it makes it so that if we open a black dragon and white dragon, it's fine. We just get to play through that. Also, sending as cost is quite relevant, as I said, if we have Absol and things like that. So yeah, it's just really nice. Past that, we're on our Reborns. Triple World Legacy Guard Dragon. The best Reborn in this deck because of Tracer. If we don't open Recharger, and near the end of the combo, or even at the start, we have Guard Dragon, we just Tracer back, we just Guard Dragon back the Tracer, and then pop this to summon Recharger. That gets us our Boral Savage. Succession and Reborn. Again, we just kind of want to keep extending as much as we really can. And yeah, these are just the nicest ones, in my opinion. Again, this was played before the ban list, so we are playing triple call buy. This sadly now has to go to 1, but as I said, I'm going to be swapping a called buy, the 2 called buys, and the red reboot replay main deck for a Dragon Maid engine, being Dragon Maid Parlor and Dragon Maid Tidying, which is the trap. I see a lot of people playing Chamber, and I do think that is correct, but it's a bit pricey at the moment, in my opinion, for what it does. And the other thing as well, if we already open Draco, but we don't open Tempest, we can still banish Tempest to search Parlor, which then just helps us recover for the next turn if we need to. So that's one thing I've been really liking with Parlor over Chamber. Is Chamber we kind of have to hard draw, but Parlor is searchable in our standard combo line. But yeah, so this will be dropping to 1, annoyingly, but this was played before the ban list got dropped, so it was completely legal. Next off, 1 for 1, we want to see our black metal realistically, so it's our best extender, starter even. Then we go on to our field 12, Bootsex, Ravine, Black Garden. These two are just insane together. Being able to discard as cost gets around a lot of different things. So if we happen to open Absol, which is what we're typically sending with Dragon Ravine, it doesn't matter if our opponent ashes us. They have to wait for the Absol, which starts in a new chain. And Black Garden, we're playing Garden Rose to search it, and we do use its second effect to pop all the tokens. And Bootsex is just one of the best field spells in the game currently. I would definitely say it's top 5 in my opinion, alongside Mystic Mine. Mystic Mine is definitely top 3, maybe even top 2. And I'm willing to argue this point that Mystic Mine is a fair card, even as a combo player. So yeah, I just really like these field spells. Past that, we're on traps. So as I said, we are on imperms again. If we need to go second, we just still want to be able to play. And this came up clutch in my locals this week when I was against Numeron Heroes. In the fact that when my opponent game 2 was going first, I opened double imperm. My opening hand was an imperm and my draw for turn was an imperm, and so he went Plasma Pass with his hand, which typically would have said that I can't play, but being able to open imperm, if he had anything to stop the imperm, like a reboot, I had the second one for turn. So it was just going to enable me to play, and pretty much after I impermed the Plasma, he just scooped. He knew that I was having full combo as well. And then the last trap, we play Reboot. Again, this is now going to be going into the side deck. There's just not really a lot to say. I wanted to protect the combo as much as I could without having as many starters as I would like. So, yeah. That's pretty much what it was. And with imperm being everywhere, the amount of times I've had a Romulus being impermed is really annoying. Because it's just one of those moments where it's the only thing that we couldn't call by at the time, other than Nibiru. So, yeah. Onto the extra deck. Double Striker Dragon. We played 2 for quite a few reasons. The most important one is a very specific line that we have to. A very specific line we take. We end up having Double Striker Dragon. One of which we use just to place an arrow, which we then use alongside LP. Typically, if we've got an arrow pointing here, this now just helps with that, putting LP live. But yeah, Double Striker Dragon, typically we only use 1. The other reason I like playing 2 is because of Dragma. This is a free send and we're still able to combo providing that we can punch through the rest of their board and interruptions. So yeah, Double Striker Dragon, I just recommend it. As I said, we're on LP and of course we're on PSD. You can't play one without the other. I just think that's wrong if you do. I don't think LP is ban worthy anymore. I think people are just in the whole point now where they were the same with Engage. They're just fed up of saying it, but it's not actually that dumb anymore, in my opinion. But obviously people will disagree. So yeah, as I was saying, LP we typically bring Brotar or Black Metal because we need our level 1s for the combo that we use. Linkroth, best card in Eternity Code, in my opinion, besides Access Code. Just, we all know how dumb and broken token makers are, and they just keep printing insane ones. Yeah, it's insane. And of course, our next link, Romulus, just searches our ravine, and its second effect in some situations does actually come up. If we open a really awkward hand, we use this to make, so we summon this, and then we put a dragon here, which we then link into LP, which then just gets us a free level 4 from our hand, if it's a dragon, and it does come up. I haven't had experience with that line, but I have seen it happen. Our next dragon link, Protector Whelp. Again, I like playing this because, similar with the second Striker Dragon, it's a free dump off of a Maximus if our opponent's on Dragma. But as you'll see, there is a line where we have both of these on board, and this is what we turn into our Apollosa. We don't play the Buster Lock, as you saw. It makes it too fragile now with Dragoon forcing people to play Kaijus. The Buster Lock is just so easily outed nowadays, it's just not worth playing in my opinion. But this is great because it allows us just to keep extending. There are times where we're locked into dragons and we use this to rip us out of it. Just because it's a generic link 2 that requires only 2 monsters. Why they give it that material, I don't know, but it's really nice that they did. And obviously, Need Fiber. Literally best card this format, in my opinion. It enables so many decks to do what it wants with the Synchro line. But now that Jet Synchron and O-Line have been banned, I don't think as many decks are going to be able to free roll it until something new comes around. So with like Jet Synchron being banned and O-Line being banned as of Monday, I'm happy with this. Doesn't affect me at all. I don't play it. I don't play either of them. And yeah, our typical target for this is Red Rose Dragon. Because we tend to turn Romulus into our link cross, not this into our link cross. which is then how we get our garden rows. Our link 4s, at that point, we're on Boroslav and Apollosa. Again, we're playing Boroslav over access code because we don't want to not be able to make it if we're locked under dragons. And realistically, we play no link 3s, which means we're doing one of two things. We're turning access code, we're making access code off of an Apollosa, which we never want to do, or we're only capping it at 4-3 at most. And it's just not worth playing. But Boroslav, if we end up putting it in our grave for whatever reason, so say for example we actually open Recharger, going second, and our opponent maxes us, if we think that they're going to blow up one of our Dark Dragons, other than Recharger, we get to put this in our grave, and then we actually get to special it back. And it's really nice. Next, we're on Synchros. Garden Rows. One of the best Synchros this format, in my opinion, besides the next two, being Savage and Crocker Dragon. This is why our level 1 is important. So alongside Garden Rows, we use... so typically our board before we want to make Trish is LP, Pisty, a level 1, and Apollosa on 2 or 3. If we're lucky, 4, depending on our hand. And so what we'll do is we'll banish LP and... we'll have Garden Rows early in the combo to get our Black Garden, which we won't just activate immediately. We'll activate it before we summon Trish. And then Trish uses LP Pisty and Legionnaire, which we summon off of Brotar, or the Tempest and Red Eyes instead of Pisty. This just helps us summon the last card in extra. But we do this because our typical banish target, as I said earlier, was Tempest, which searches Crusadia Draco. So we go Black Garden, make Trish, give him a token, banish Tempest, search Draco, summon Draco under an Apollosa zone. That gives him a second. We then use the second effect of Black Garden to pop it and bring back Tracer. So then our field at that moment is Apollosa, Trish, 4, 4, 1, which is why we get to make Crocker Dragon. And Crocker Dragon in this deck will always draw us 2. If it's only drawing 1, I don't know how you're doing this, but it will always be drawing us 2. I was debating running Synchro Trish for the event, but I felt the further extenders was just going to be really helpful compared to ripping a second card out of our opponent's hand. And yeah, as I said, Boral Savage. It's one of the best synchros in the game right now. Dark, level 8. Typically, we're only putting 2 negates on with Needle Fiber, but yeah, it's insane. And then because we're on these, our last card, of course, is True King. VFD at the moment in this format is hilarious in how busted it is, as it will always be. The only thing I have against it is the fact it's not actually a dragon. It is a worm, but being able to just stop our opponent playing for a turn in some decks is huge. Like, for example, you'll see in my first round I had Cosmo. I made True King, and for 2 or 3 turns I didn't even activate it because they were just scared of not playing into it. Because the second they were going to try something, I was just going to be able to just detach and just stop them playing. And yeah, that's the extra deck. Very standard at the moment on VFD build. I think it's the better way to go at the moment. Just being able to rip so many cards out of our opponent's deck and hand, and just being able to stall them into the game enough, I think is good enough. Next is our side deck. I did have to borrow a few cards for this, but most of it I have. So, Triple Ash. This is going to 2. Now that I'm putting Reboot back in the side, but for the event I play Triple Ash. Imperm is just better than Ash right now, and same with Velar. Triple Nibiru. I wasn't main decking this because I didn't want, I wanted the extra Noodle 5 targets, so it just helps. Triple Cosmic for the back row decks. It's just really nice. Now that Feather Duster is back, I'm not going to be playing it. It's not because it's spiked at all, it's just the fact that I think Feather Duster is going to be overrated. We saw this happen with Dark Hole and Raigeki, how they spiked when they went to 3, and now they're saying 0 play, and they haven't seen play for the last year. And I think it's going to be the same with Feather Duster. People are going to smash out buying it, and then it's going to see 0 play. So yeah, I'd still rather play Cyclone. Just getting around non-destruction is insane. Then the cards we did borrow, shout out to Ethan for letting me do that. These would be either Dark Ruler, no more, or Droplets if we suspect our opponent to be going second. I would recommend Droplets over Dark Ruler, simply for the fact that if we open Absol Droplets going second, it is busted. We just get to Droplets and Absol, new chain Absol, Atlas Tracer. And then triple evenly matched, just to be able to out those boards and back row. Which is what I would play, but I had to borrow those for the event. And yeah, that's a profile for my first place Dragon Link deck that got me my first ever locals win, which I am very happy about. I do want to give a quick shout out to a couple of people, one of which being Ethan, helping me get back into the game properly. Secondly, I want to give a shout out to Ryan Watson on the UK and Europe Trading Group. I will highly recommend his stuff. He does custom tokens, custom field centers, and he has done a lot of work for me and the guys at my locals. I just want to give him a quick shout out because he helped me design these secret rare, as you can see, rose tokens alongside my field centers, which I didn't have at the time. So I just want to give him a quick shout out. And yeah, it's just been a really good solid deck. I think it's going to be the next big deck of the format. And yeah, it's going to be the best combo deck in my opinion in this format now that Info Nobles have to take a different line. And if I really wanted to, I could play Smoke Grenade, but I just don't like being able to, as weird as it sounds, I don't want to have that much of an unfair advantage being able to play Vylon Cube, Vylon Sphere. It's just a bit ridiculous being able to see the knowledge, and I personally think it should have been hit on the ban list instead of some of the bigger hits, just to be able to give Info Nobles something different to play instead of hand ripping. So, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, I will catch you guys later.